So welcome back everyone, and today I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Howard Cox back to the show in his first interview after a big announcement yesterday. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning.
Howard, yesterday you sent, shockwaves really through the reform world with a big announcement, a big statement that, I'll tell you what, before we go any further, let's have a little look at what you had to say.
Hello, I've decided to actually leave the Reform UK party. There are a number of reasons why I'm doing this, which will come out in the coming months. But the most important thing, by leaving the party, frees me up to talk about a number of political issues without criticism. I'd like to thank everyone who actually supported me in standing for London Mayor in London, and also down as an MP down in Dover and Deal. We should be proud of what we achieved, specifically in Dover, because we knocked the Tories into third place and we came second. So thank you for all your support. I look forward to seeing you in the coming months.
Howard, that kind of come easy to you?
No, it didn't. It was it's been a long time coming, because I've been not happy the way Reform UK have actually been operating. And let's be clear about this. We're what happened in the general election was nothing to do with any skill of any Labour government. It was because the Tories were useless. They let us down in recent times, particularly on things like taxes and our borders, all those sorts of things. And Labour luckily got in place. And as a devout Thatcherite, that I believe in small state, low taxes, and now protecting our borders, I was looking for a new party back almost a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And to cut a long story short, the Tories imploded. They lost loads of seats. Labour luckily got back in. But still, we've got the uniparty. Everything's the same. There's a lot of dishonesty in manifestos that were promising, and it's impacting on farmers, pensioners, and small businesses. I mean, the country is in dire straits. Hence the reason why people like Elon Musk is actually interfering, you may say, but I don't think. I think his interventions are welcome. So to cut a long story short, Reform UK was, I accepted their invitation to stand as London Mayor over a year and a half ago, and I was delighted and flattered. It took a bit of a long time to consider. I sat down with my wife and saying, what do you think? But everything they were saying, the policies that I did see, and some of the policies I've been involved with, in particularly on lower fuel duty and lower cost of motoring, they adopted. I accepted. So I accepted standing for London Mayor, and it was a very turbulent year of campaigning. Fantastic people, grassroots people who really believe in Reform UK. And at that point, Nigel Farage wasn't the leader. Richard Tice was, because he was the one that invited me in. And the reason why he invited me is I've got 1.7 million supporters who signed up to Fair Fuel UK, and I'm quite respected and popular in the political arena and with a lot of media, and I've been writing for papers, particularly The Sun, etc. And you could see that actually this is probably a good idea, because I am a grassroots campaigner and I don't get paid anything for it. I'm totally volunteer in doing this. And anyway, I sound as I'm rabbiting a bit, but really what happened when I didn't win the London mayoral election, which basically we were fighting to stop the ULEZ expansion and that sort of thing. And on that day, the only person that came and actually supported me on the day of the election, where I went into the ballot box to vote in Westminster, was Rupert Lowe. And Rupert, bless his cotton socks, was very supportive, but there was not one person from Reform UK headquarters that came along that day, not a photographer or anything. You think they would have done that? And I thought, hang on a second, what's going on here? Anyway, I accepted it. That's the way it was. Only got 3.5% of the vote, and bear in mind Sadiq Khan only got 18%. 82% didn't vote for him. And Rupert was very kind to me. We had a coffee after that, and he was disgusted with the Reform headquarters as well, not supporting me. And anyway, so that all died a death. And then, of course, Sunak decided to say we're going to have a general election. And 4 weeks before the general election, or 4 to 5 weeks before election, Nigel Farage decided to come in to lead the party, demoting Richard Tice and effectively getting rid of a lot of other people, including Ben Habib. And really, I thought, should I continue? But due to the emails, my inbox and my phone calls and my WhatsApp from grassroots WhatsApp people from London said, "Please stand. You've got to stand." And
Yeah.
I was offered 2 or 3 places I could stand, and I was really it was right that I stood down in Dover, the front line of immigration, issues. So I went down and met the people down there. What a fabulous bunch of grassroots people who support Reform UK, looking for a new home since the Tories have let us down. And bear in mind, Dover, as I say, is the front line of our borders control, etc. So I said, why not do that? So I did stand down there, and I came second. I pushed the Tories into third place. Had we had we only campaigned for 3.5 weeks. If we could have campaigned for another 6 weeks, I think we would have nicked it. And today's electoral calculus is saying that Reform, and I assume that's a lot to do with me, is actually in the lead down there now. So we had an election there.
Yeah, I imagine they are. Well, is it fair to say, Howard, that you was perhaps starting to have a bit of a battle with your own conscience?
Yes, I think that's a fair way to say it at that point of view. But what was happening now is I was obviously being interviewed by a lot of things, and the thing with, bless him, and I'm really I've got to get this across carefully. Tommy Robinson, what Tommy Robinson has been through is unforgivable. He is a political prisoner, in my opinion. I don't know him. I've never even gone out of my way to go and support him. What I have done, though, is support what he's trying to do. And that's the sort of thing that I obviously have come a cropper with Reform UK. Because you might as well know this, everyone listening to this, but in the last week, and this was the reason why I resigned, finally decided to resign, I got some communications from senior Reform HQ people. You must not criticise Reform UK on the Tommy Robinson issue. And I said, why?
Wow.
They said, well, yeah, well, that's the truth. And what I couldn't believe, I said, well, why? What are you saying? He said, well, we listened to some of your interviews. Well, they obviously didn't listen to my interviews, because I said, yet again, I support what he's trying to do. The rape of our kids, and we're finding now in 50 towns across the country, hundreds of thousands of them being raped. And what Tommy Robinson did was actually bring this to the headlines over the years. He's been fantastic in doing that. It doesn't mean to say I support his politics or his personality or anything. I support what he's trying to do is actually to stop the systematic rape of our children. And how can anyone disagree with what I'm trying to do in that respect? But they still said categorically, and this particular individual who sent me this WhatsApp text said, if you continue like this, I mean, I understand. Or in fact, they actually said there are people within the party want to see you expelled because of what you're saying. And I've given nearly 2 years of my life. I don't need to do this to actually promoting WhatsApp.
Howard, this is mind blowing, right? So this is the party of free speech.
Yes.
Allegedly. What are they? It almost seems like this battle with Tommy and that lot has become almost personal for the leadership of Reform. What is going through their minds?
Well,
what is their agenda?
Well, I don't know what their agenda. For some reason, and you've rightly pointed out to me, and the number of supporters that Tommy has, who fundamentally, most of them are Reform UK potential voters, are being just treated as shit. They are, because I totally support what Tommy Robinson is trying to do, but I don't support Tommy Robinson. I don't support anyone. I don't even support Nigel Farage in that respect. I support the policies. It's not the people. Yeah. It's not the Messiah. Yeah. It's not the prophets. It's all about the policies for me. And if the policies match my personal agenda, I will back them to the hilt. And that's one reason why I love Rupert Lowe. He is a good Reform UK, a classic person, and I will always back him, because if you just read his social media, you just see what he tries to do, and he's fantastic in what he's trying to do. But I'm afraid, and I see that Nigel Farage is beginning to acquiesce. I saw in a tweet yesterday, he said, it's true, I don't understand why Tommy's in prison or in solitary. I think I saw a tweet he wrote. And so I hope that's something to do with some of the pressure I'm putting on. But I couldn't take it anymore. Paul, this was not right. I'm in this on a principled position, not on a personal power thing. And I think Reform UK are drunk on power at the moment, and they can do anything at the moment because Labour and the Tories, the uni-party system, is not working. And that's what people are crying out for someone to come and do it. And Paul, I have to say to you, Nigel's brilliant, great communicator, great campaigner. I've got huge respect what he did with Brexit and all the things there. I'm right behind him. And I wouldn't say a close friend, but I was a friend of his. And I should imagine now I'm a pariah.
Well, I mean, look, Howard, a lot of the things you're saying there resonate with me, because, look, I've been a supporter of Nigel. I've been a supporter of his policies. I've been a supporter of the party, but things have changed recently. Have you had any response from the party since your resignation?
Not one thing whatsoever. I've just seen, I've had loads of response from the media. I've got lots of interviews I'm doing, and you are right. You are the first person. I've kept it to you because you've been very kind to me and honourable about this. And your supporters, I think they should hear the truth from the horse's mouth. But in terms of the party, no one except the grassroots people. I must have, if you look at my latest tweet at the bottom, 9 out of 10 people are saying, "Oh, good one's gone again. Why are you going here? What can you come back?" And people in Dover and Deal, I've got must be 30 or 40 WhatsApps and emails saying, "Oh, how please, what's going to happen to Dover and Deal now?" They all support me personally and what I was trying to do, but on this principle, simply because I support an absolutely fundamental aspect of our life to stop our children being raped. And the person who's been leading on that story, Tommy Robinson, and now Elon Musk, who I've got massive respect for. I don't think Elon Musk should dictate who should lead our party. Sorry, but Reform UK, it's not my party anymore. But no one, I don't think any foreigner or any person should actually dictate that. But what he's saying about what's happening in our country, I totally support. And
it's true.
And people like Donald Trump coming in is honestly, to me, is a salvation for the Western world.
This persecution of Tommy, the vile accusation that Nigel made on LBC the other day, in which he accused Tommy basically of being involved in violence against women, entirely false, by the way. Does he need to publicly apologise for that?
Absolutely right. But, this is the same old thing. Politicians at that level, for some reason, he wants an apology from Kemi Badenoch regarding the ticker, the number of members going up. And she hasn't done that, retired, because she got that wrong. And I know for a fact that there's no way the Reform UK were dishonest about those numbers. They were genuine numbers. But now you're quite right, Paul. I mean, you do not put things out willy-nilly telling untruths, and it's good to see Tommy's wife actually coming back and say this is not true. I mean, again, I repeat, and I want the Reform UK people who are listening to this. I'm not, promoting Tommy Robinson. I'm promoting what he's trying to do, and any man that's in solitary and in prison for standing up for the rights of for our nation, our people, our kids, should be respected, not attacked.
Something that you said earlier on, which I agree with entirely. This issue about you being told not to speak about it, etc.
Yeah.
Now I've had a bit of criticism over the last few days saying, "Oh, Paul, you're going to split the vote if you're not careful." But Howard, I cannot support a party that not only refuses to back the man who has done the most to highlight this issue, but now wants to shut their members up over the issue. That's not a party that I can support, or a leader at least.
Well, that's the reason why I left the party yesterday, and I took advice from various people close to me and politically close to me about this, and it did take a lot for me to do this because I do stand a chance of becoming an MP for Reform UK, but obviously that's completely blown out of the water now. I don't care about that because I stand on principle. And I will focus on actually answering political questions of me, and I can now say it without fear of criticism, and that's very important to me. I may not be right, but I'm also got to focus on, because I know from the Labour's point of view, they're going to hit the motorists hard, and I've been fighting a long time for the motorists, and I've got to concentrate on that. I don't need to have these political, personal distractions of a personal nature. thrown at me, and I just want to focus on actually doing my best for the people that matter to me.
How can this rift be sorted, do you think? Is there any way back for you, for Tommy, for Nigel? Should we all just ignore it and let it go away? What happens from here? What's your view?
Well, it's not my decision to actually. It would have the common decency that, I mean, I understand certain people went on the, I think it was one on the Jeremy Kyle show yesterday. Richard Tice was on there, and Jeremy Kyle, who knows me well, said, "You've just heard that Howard Cox has just left the party," and you could see.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, you could understand. I think you should play it if you get that clip. But he was slightly, talking at odds with himself when he said to me, "Well, it's the right of free speech." You made the point, Paul. Reform UK is supposedly the free speech party. Why can't I disagree with one policy or one approach of reform and still carry on fighting reform? Because I want low taxes, I want our borders, controlled, and all that sort of thing. All the things in their contract with the people, which is their sort of manifesto, I back totally. But I just simply said the things I've said, and I've said it on 2 or 3 stations, channels and in papers, that we should be getting behind and supporting Tommy Robinson's what he's trying to fight for. As a human being, I don't know what he's done in the past. I don't bloody care. But what he's trying to do, and that's why Elon Musk is saying the same thing. And I would like to say publicly now, thank you, Elon, for actually getting into this, because it's important. Now, whether Elon actually gives money to Reform UK is another matter now. That's an issue situation. But the inauguration of Donald Trump is on the 20th, not long after this interview with you.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see, because Nigel will be over there, how they sit down around the table and hopefully, you answer the question, how can this be resolved? I think we've got to grow up, and Reform UK needs to grow up and recognise that you can't just trample over people who really passionately care about the same things as you do, Nigel, Richard, and the rest of the gang. You should start actually recognising we've got our own brain, and we shouldn't be, told to, to toe the line, or basically being whipped, almost like a 3-line whip within the party, which is ridiculous. So there you go. Yeah. I don't know where it's going. I don't think it is a way back for me in this, but I am looking at I've been offered some things in the last 24 hours, which involves still being in politics, and who knows, an independent position I might take up. I don't know.
Before I let you go, Howard, obviously we had that vote in the Commons last night, which frankly shocked me. The result of it shouldn't have shocked me, but I've still got trouble believing that was, the no's won it. No inquiry.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that this morning?
Well, this is where Reform UK and myself agree. We've got to have an independent public inquiry, and it's got to happen quickly. It shouldn't be 7 years, 3 years, 1 year. I think we could do this in 6 months with the amount of evidence we've got, and we've got to put all those people culpable for covering this up. They must be actually prosecuted, without doubt. That's how I feel. I feel so strongly about it.
Yeah,
and watching
absolutely.
those MPs last night were doing, and the abstainers in the Tory party. I couldn't believe, how these people, can't recognise it. I mean, if I was a Labour MP, I would have, resisted the 3-line whip and gone against it. And that's what true principled politicians should do. But Keir Starmer, who, as you know, he was director of public prosecutions at the time, and that sort of thing, I believe, and I'll say it quite publicly, I believe they are covering up something so severe that they can't come back from it. And I hope whoever's involved with this, including Tommy and Elon, will actually get to the bottom of this and reveal it.
Howard, before we go, I just want to say that, look, I know personally that you've been having a bit of a battle here over the last few weeks, and I would like to publicly commend you for your bravery and your principles. And this is why every single person that I speak to about Howard Cox only ever has good things to say about you. So thank you. Thank you for your support for Tommy and for truth, not necessarily for Tommy, but for truth.
That's exactly right.
And justice. So, thank you for that. And look, we can't afford to lose men like you from politics. So let's hope that something good can happen down the line.
Well, the only thing I say to your viewers, and you've got lots of them, and the good people they are, it'd be nice actually. Please, can you sign up to Fair Fuel UK, because I need as much support there to stop the anti-driver policies that are going to hit us hard in this Labour regime.
What's the website for that, Howard? Give it a shout out.
It's fairfueluk.com. It's free.
Howard,
it's totally free. All I want you is to sign up and support for a better deal for 37 million UK drivers.
Absolutely. I mean, what's not to like? Get over there, over there and sign up now. Howard, all the best. Have a lovely day, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.